Hey guys, welcome to the Irrational Sense podcast. This is a new episode and series. I want to call it the guest series. I usually do share a lot of videos about tips and tricks and how you can get over things, what I went through, how I got through them, and how you can implement the things that I did. This episode is a special episode because I do have my first guest on the channel. His name is Jermaine Laing. He's a friend and an ex-colleague of mine. He is someone who constantly improves himself in terms of studying and learning. He is certified in a lot of certifications that helps in the financial sector and the industry. He is now an immigration consultant. A very genuine conversation with a very genuine person. I enjoyed having to shoot this episode with Jermaine. He did really bring out the best of what someone can do and what they should not do when they're moving to a new country such as Canada. I have linked Jermaine's website in the show notes for all those who want to reach out to him for any consulting questions or help. So without taking a lot of time, I hope you enjoy this episode. I am hoping to shoot a lot more guest series as such. I'll let you dive light into the episode. Thank you for being here. For all those who are new, consider subscribing. Over to the episode and my conversation with Jermaine Laing. Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. This will be episode 6 on the Irrational Sense podcast. This is a little different from the other episodes that I've done. Today we have a special guest on the episode. He's my friend Jermaine Laing. So we are going to talk about a few things before we dive right into it. I just want to welcome Jermaine to the episode. And I want to say, Jermaine, thank you for being here. How are you, brother? How's it going?
Jude, thank you so much for having me, man. I'm doing very good. I'm doing very good. Thank you so much for asking. How about yourself?
I'm doing good too, Jermaine. Thank you. So just to
Awesome.
give a little background about Jermaine and me, I think Jermaine and me go back in working in the same company when we moved to Canada. I moved in terms of studying, and then I started working for the financial sector, and that's where I met Jermaine as well. So Jermaine and me worked in the same team, and we worked for the same process for a short while. We were in the same company for I think about 2 years, right? I'm not sure how long we were there. I was there for about 3.5 years, uh, but I think we were about two
Well,
plus years.
well, I'm still there, so it just depends on when you left.
Oh yeah, true. You're still
Yeah,
there. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think we must have gone back about 2.5 years or so.
Okay.
I think that's how long we worked together. But in terms of team, I think we were about a year or a few months, um, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So yeah, so that's where I met Jermaine. From what I know about Jermaine is Jermaine's a really hardworking person. I've always seen him improve incrementally. I think you're one of the few people who can give me a complex because every single time I see you, either studying something or you are working on a certification or you're working on something new or there's always something new. I think we go back to doing a course together as well. I think both of us didn't complete it as yet. I am sure you are on the way, but I have somewhere halfway left on that. But apart from that, I think I will let Jermaine talk now and share on who he is, where he's from, what brings him here, and a few other things. So, Jermaine, over to you if you want to share on where you're from, how you came to Canada as a country, what brought you here, and what you're heading towards. So, if you want to just give a little brief, and we can dive right into the few questions I have for you.
For sure. Sure. I'm originally from Jamaica, right? Completely different climate than what we have here in Canada. So ever
Hmm.
since I became knowledgeable as to what is outside of the shores of Jamaica, I've always wanted to explore, and I always see Canada as that place that I want to be, I want to live. One thing that I always heard from those times is just how much opportunities are here, low crime rate, lot of options in terms of employment. And
Mm-hmm.
once I placed myself in the position where I could make that a reality, I came here as an international student. At that point, it was perhaps one of the most safest way. Similar
True.
to yourself, you came here as an international student. I think we perhaps were at the same institution at one point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
think
but
we are. Yeah.
but yeah. So I came here as an international student. I did two programs. I did two programs because I'm somewhat of a risk averse person. So
Mm-hmm.
the more
Mm-hmm.
you study, yeah, you know the process. The longer the permit. You can actually have a postgraduate permit up to 3 years if you study for two. So
Mm-hmm.
that was really why I chose to do two programs. So yeah, so outside of that, I'm a banker by profession. I was a banker in Jamaica. When I moved here, I was fortunate enough to end up back in the same industry. I love banking, and as at last year, when I got my license and my immigration consultancy license, I became a part-time immigration consultant.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that is pretty much my story. Um, so I'm gonna turn it back over to you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting, Jermaine. Thanks for sharing. I think
Um,
my background goes very similar to yours. I think we are at one point around the same institution, but I think a few months or a semester before and after. Uh, but I think one good or similarities I see is, of course, the weather is different, of course, even from where I come from. That's definitely a pro and a con, a blessing and a boon for sure. But I think the last bit of what you shared about you having to obtain a license and now you're an immigration consultant, right? So for someone who was into banking and who likes banking and who moved into immigration consulting, do you do that part time? Do you do that full time? And why did you choose immigration consulting?
Good question. So I'm actually a part-time immigration consultant. So my 9 to 5 is really banking is my priority. So I do that
Mm-hmm.
outside of my 9 to 5. Why I chose this profession, when I started looking for opportunities to migrate, uh, a lot similar to what a lot of persons are experiencing, the cost then, in terms of finding someone who provided the services, it was really, really high. Uh, when I managed to move here, uh, fortunate enough to be in a diverse class, when I say class, I mean classroom, a
Mm-hmm.
diverse classroom for two academic term. I realized that there were pretty much a lot of persons like myself, who had the same goal, but due to their situation, they took different channels. They took different ways of. We all had the same objective, but person took different route. So when I saw that there were so many different ways to achieve the permanent resident, which was pretty much what our ultimate goal was to get PR, and I like saw the different challenges what other persons were facing in terms of finding the funds to access the information, finding the funds to pay for the service. I wanted to fill the void of providing the same high quality service, but in a way that it's more affordable to for everyone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
coming here as an immigrant like yourself, you can relate that with the culture shock and how everything was. It just come to you all at once, right? And it's tough enough that you have to adapt and all the other challenges that you're facing. You're missing your family, adapting to the weather, fitting into the society, finding a good job, all that jazz put together. Like if you're able to have access to that information or someone to kind of steer you into the in the right direction, it makes the transition a lot easier. So I wanted to assist persons who were new to the country as much as I could.
That's awesome. I think that that is definitely something that we all need, and I'm sure even I need it at some point in time. So just to give the viewers a little bit of background, so the process starts off with people having to move in as an international student. They study one or two programs, and then they apply for a work permit. And then the work permit could be anywhere from 1 to 3 years, or could extend or not. And then while the person is on work permit, who's legally allowed to work or who can now legally have to pay taxes and work, then they apply to be a PR, who's a permanent resident in the country. And after you're a PR, you need to be staying here for a certain number of eligible days for you to apply citizenship in the country. So that's the general process, just for those who not know on what the PR is. But I think in terms of what you said, that you needed someone to steer you into the right path. So I know it could be different, but did you have someone when you were here and when you needed help that you reached out, where you found either the consulting fees was high, or the people didn't show you the right path where to go to, or you had to do a lot of things by yourself, where you felt that if you had help, you could have done it faster? And if there was someone who could just show you on where to go, did you find that be a pain point for you at some point in time?
Well, that's a good question, Jude. So unfortunately, I did not like I learned everything the hard way, right? So I had to go out. I had to make my mistakes. Some of those mistakes cost me not only those weren't only financial mistakes, right? Those were timely mistakes. And
Hmm.
that is some of the ways I'm looking to. I would like to save persons who are new to the country, that it's really just a matter of having access to the right information. Um, it's really just a matter of having like a mentor, or having someone tell you where to go, where to access the information, what to do, even to just hold your hand and just say, hey, maybe if you let me assist you with writing your resume. You can submit your resume here. You can use this agency. You have a better chance of getting into your field. A lot of those things, like I had to learn the hard way. So I'm trying to extend my services, not only to provide data of immigration, but like to resume writing, for example. Um, Assistance in finding housing, for example, another example. Any way that you can look to cushion the effect of moving into another country.
Yeah, I think that was always a issue as well, because I remember, since you said resume writing, I think the format of the resume that I've followed from back home to what it is here is different. I remember applying to at least 50 plus jobs in the very beginning with just the wrong format, because of course I should have found out, but yeah, like I didn't know that format mattered, and it was just part-time jobs. So I was lucky that it was not a big miss, but I know how it could be daunting for someone who's new, with a cultural shock, as he said, for someone who is missing home, missing family, having to deal with a lot of other things and still have to find their way. So I kind of connect on how it could be for a new immigrant to come and who need help. So that's a really good. I would say I wouldn't say a cause, but yeah, I think it's a really good start for someone who needs help. So for a new immigrant who comes here, in terms of part-time job being one of the most important things that they need to find, apart from they having to study, what would you suggest in terms of them having to work? Do you suggest that someone works in one job and then have to study and focus on other things, or do you prefer that they work in two jobs? Or even if they do, is there a legal way on how they can do it? Or any pointer that you think, as an immigration consultant, that you'd like to put out there for people who are coming in new, looking for part-time
Good,
jobs?
good question. So, as at last November, 2022 November, the government issued, what should I say? It gave international students the opportunity to work 40 hours a week, right? When we were in school, it was 20 hours. Now you can work up to 40 hours a week, and that should end the end of this year in 2023. Um, so students have more opportunity now to take care of their basic commodities. So you have to remember that you are a student first. You came here as a student, and what you have to satisfy the criteria of the permit in order for you to get a work permit when you finish studying. One of those criteria is that you have to successfully finish your program. So you don't want to compromise that. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're failing your courses, you're not able to graduate, all in the name of making money. It's good if you're able to pay your rent, buy food, take care, if you have family, take care of your family, etc., etc. But don't forget that you're on a study permit and you're supposed to be partaking in school. At the end of the day, like for us, it was good because we needed those certifications in order to get back into the industry or the financial industry. So focus on school. Make sure that the whatever you're earning is first of all, if whenever if you're looking to migrate, right, there you are required to show proof of funds, and that proof of funds should be sufficient to cover you for a year, if you're not working, right? So make sure that you have sufficient resources prior to coming here, because there are enough challenges as it is already. You don't want to have not being able to pay your rent or buy food to be one of those challenges. Okay, there are a lot of mediums and channels that you can take to end up in your field. So there are a lot of agencies around that all you need to do, they will assist you in preparing your resume. They will assist you in getting into the industry of your choice. You do have to manage your expectations somewhat though. You might not get into that ideal job immediately. It might take some networking. It might take some volunteer experience, but just come here with sufficient resources. Make sure that school is a priority, and whatever you're earning is enough to get by. At the end of the day, when you leave school and you have your work permit, yeah, you can work endlessly if you so choose. Okay, that is
True.
just my 2 cents.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think huge gift for those who are coming now, because 40 hours is definitely a lot of time, because I remember we used to clock out with 20 hours, and I used to wait and check and count and how many hours, and yeah, like we used to do a lot of the counting game just to make
Yeah.
sure we fall within the legal bracket of it. So yeah, I think 40 is a huge blessing though. For someone who's moving here, of course, part-time is a huge blessing. And there are a lot of opportunities. They're excited to do new things. They want to look at new places. They want to find out how life is cultural. Even though it's a cultural shock, I'm sure a lot of us, even us at the very beginning, were excited to look and find out and learn new things because it's a new place and a new environment completely. So for someone who's coming here, in terms of unrealistic expectations, in terms of the clients that you've dealt with, or in terms of the consulting that you've done, what do you think are considered or fall in the bracket of unrealistic expectations? The reason why I ask is because I know you are one of those who come in at the very beginning when work starts, and also you could be the last one to leave. So things have worked for you because you put in the time and effort. But for someone who comes in with an unrealistic expectation that, they're going to do the same thing, but they expect exorbitant results in a different stream, what do you think are those expectations, and how can they not have them or have the right expectations?
Okay, good question, Jude. And I think it's just a matter of doing your research, right? Podcasts such as these, there are a lot of persons who have YouTube channels, talk to family members, talk to friends. You look at what is in demand, look at the province it's in demand. Um, you have to do your research, right? And some of those unrealistic expectations that I see is hoping to find the job that is paying all your that six-figure salary the moment you come off the plane. And that may be the case for some persons, but for others, you just have to just be patient. You have to reassess yourself. You might have to do a few certifications. You might have to start from an entry level position. You may even have to change province, right? You just have to be open minded and just be like, Canada is a very, very good place to live, but it also have the difficulties as with anywhere else in the world. So just know that. But the thing is, if you have the right mindset, if you're patient, if you're willing to go back to school, learn new stuff, you can climb that corporate ladder. You can get to where you need to be or where you want to be rather. But you just have to do your research and be open minded.
That's great. Yeah, that's true because I've seen you do it as well for someone who comes here with in terms of expectation and working hard. Um, I've always seen you do some sort of certification in terms of improving yourself in the work field or trying to get the edge or even having being equipped better than your peer or your competition. So I think that's a very, very good point for someone to not have those expectations only because you're going to paint a doomsday picture for yourself when that was never the case. You come here and you see, oh, this is what I expected, it was not, then you go into the negative zone. I think some of us have done that, and yeah, that's a very good point. Which leads me a broad question, but a very personal question for you specifically. So, in terms of expectations, you are someone who always pursued doing something in terms of a course or a certification or anything that you think in your field makes a lot of sense or gives you the edge. So, my question to you is what keeps you going? Or what would you tell for someone who is pursuing those courses? Because I know at some point in time you were doing two courses or three courses together, and you had different slots of study, you had work, and you had to manage other things around. So, what kept you going, and what tip could you give to someone who is doing the same?
All right, so I'm somewhat old fashioned or old school. I do believe that hard work will eventually lead to success. And what keeps me going is that when you look at where you are and when you look on the roles or responsibilities that you want to attain in an organization, you have to look on different patterns and look on different trends and see what those are, what are the requirements, what are the certification that they're asking for, what are the skill set that they're asking for, right? You may not have that now, but you can work towards it because you're not gonna get there with if it's a requirement, Jude. You have to be extremely, extremely lucky to get there without it, right? If it's a requirement, it's a requirement, right? So that is kind of what keeps me motivated, knowing that I'm working towards a goal, right? I'm working towards, at the end of the day, if they're asking for this, I have it. if they're asking for this, I'm working towards it. I will complete it one day. In addition to that, you have to network. You have to network. You have to build connections. That is pretty much what drives me. Um, and I do believe that we're in an environment of continued learning. You have to continue to learn new things. You have to continue to adapt. That is the only way you're going to remain relevant. Once you stop learning, you're going backwards. So that is just my 2 cents. That you have to put yourself in a position where you're learning, um, where you're growing. You unless you're stagnant. So that's just it.
That's true. I think standing still is the fastest way of going backwards, right? Because as long as we don't improve continuously, I think we are only digressing, if that's a word, and not progressing. So yeah, that's true. So that's good because I think the reason why I asked is also because I've seen you pursue a few things, and at times I myself can get a little tired about doing things. So yeah, I think that's like a secret goal and how you could get there. So I just have a couple of questions. One is what led you, or what was that one specific trigger that led you to start this enterprise? What is the trigger? And the second is what is your service and what do you have to offer?
Okay, sure. So my first couple years of when I got here, I'm always sharing residence. Okay, and the persons who I'm always sharing with are usually in the same position that I am. They're immigrants. Okay,
Sorry, so when you say shared residence, you mean co-living with others,
home,
right?
home.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Home,
exactly.
okay.
Yeah. So they're always immigrants, and I took a keen interest in my personal transition from going from a study permit to a work permit to PR to citizen. Um, I mean, like if you really want something, um, you have to invest the time and effort in getting all that information. So when I have all these persons around me, I would oftentimes encourage them. I would there are friends that I would even take their application and I would do it for them. And I kept doing applications to persons, doing applications to persons, doing applications to persons until I'm like, I have a vast amount of experience. I have experience. I have knowledge. Why not just go for the license? So I made the decision to go for the license in 2020. I finished the program in 2021, and I got my license last year. Got my license last year, and I opened up the business like a month afterwards.
So how was it from moving from a full-time banker to having to do an enterprise, find an office, register in terms of having a company and a corporation? Was that process smooth for you? Did you have to take a few time off, or how did that go for you?
Was a very smooth process, and it was a smooth process because I had someone who did it before me. So again, back to that whole notion of having a mentor or a coach, somebody who had already gone that way, you can always leverage their experience. So I had assistance in guiding me through the registration process. It was very smooth. It was very smooth. So you can do it yourself, but I had a third party just did everything. It was just a matter of turning up to the bank to open the company account, but it was a very smooth process, right? So in terms of what I did, I also work from home, right? So I work 3 days from home. um, so my 9 to 5 is a hybrid situation. I work 3 days from home, 2 days in the office. My company I run it from my home as well. Okay. There are a lot of benefits from running your company from home, tax wise. So I leverage that. I leverage that. So the entire service, or it's offered, is offered virtually. So what will happen? If you're someone who is interested, I will send you a link, and I will provide that consultation virtually. If we're proceeding, or communication will get more personalized, we can exchange numbers, and then we will go from there.
Sure. That's more clear. So your whole process of how you started and how it transitioned was easier in terms of how someone can approach you is they reach out to you and you do send them a link and you start the consultation from there. So
Yes.
what are the services that you offer? Is that something you can dive in terms of just being, it could be a one word or a one liner on what are the things you offer that people can reach out to you for?
Offer a vast amount of service from um, visa application, regardless of what type of visa you're applying for. Permits, study permit, work permit, LMIA application, family sponsorship, PR application, citizenship application, you name it. The only thing that I don't do is refugee application, but I pretty much do everything else. By extension, I'm looking to assist persons in writing their resume. I'm also offering free school application. Okay, so we'll do the school application for you free of cost. Um, Resume writing free of cost. Um, and depending on where we are in our principal applicant, principal agent relationship rather, I can go as far as to, if you need assistance in finding housing, I can assist there as well. So that's pretty much in a nutshell what the company is looking to, type of services we are looking to provide. Um, there may be more in the pipeline later on, but that's it for now.
Perfect. So yeah, I think for those who do need help with immigration and a few other things, they definitely can reach out to you. I think the part of housing, I think, is a huge win. I'm sure, like for all of us, I know how hard housing is. So that's a very good thing that you're helping with that as well. So yeah, I think I would say thank you for even starting the service because I think as an enterprise, because I think you are going to help a lot of people who do need help. And I'm sure a lot of them would be benefited in just knowing where to go, even before anything bigger. Because sometimes when you don't know where to go, I think that's a big drawback, especially for someone as an international student, and then a work permit, and then a PR, and then over to now having to help others. I think you have walked the path yourself. So I think you would be the best person to even have to show people on where to go. So thank you, Jermaine, for your time. But before I let you go, the question is very simple. So let's say you, as an individual who's here, who's come here, what do you think are the two things that people should not do as an immigrant coming in at any given point in time, that you believe that you've done or you've seen people do that they should not do, either in terms of immigration, in terms of work, in terms of anything as an immigrant that you think they should not do? And what are the two things you feel that you think they should do? It could be in terms of getting their license at the very beginning, in terms of a driving license, in terms of certifying, in terms of having to get their resume building started way earlier than applying for a job. Anything that you feel the two things that they should do way earlier than they are not doing now.
All right, so what I would say, two things that you should not do: you should not breach the terms of, if you're on a permit, don't breach your terms. Okay? Um, don't breach the term of your permit. Okay? Uh, do not try your best. Just remember that you're a temporary resident, so you want to be on the right side of the law at all times. Okay. You want to be on the right side of the law. So those are my 2 cents. Stay in the confinement of your permit, whatever, because your permit is a contract, right? So you don't want to breach anything that you don't want to breach your contract, and you want to remain on the right side of the law. So those are the 2 things I would say that you shouldn't do. Do not break the law and do not breach your contract. But I would say the 2 things that you should do, you should take your life into your own hands. What do I mean by that? Read, go in search of information, um, network, um, try to, but you know what you want to be. So pursue those. If you need a certification, go and get that certification. If you already have that certification, there's a possibility that you might need to convert it to the Canadian equivalent. So you want to make yourself marketable and try to, as it pertains to professional advice in terms of immigration advice, in terms of legal advice, in terms of advice into purchase a home, into filing your taxes. Make sure you look on reviews. Make sure you do your homework. You do your research. Just that will keep you out of a lot of hot waters.
That's true.
So yeah, so just go in search of information and just try to make yourself marketable.
Perfect. All right. I think those are the 2 points which definitely is a huge thing to stay out of and stay in, rather do and don't. I think that makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I'd say Jermaine, thank you for your time. Thanks for connecting with me. Thanks for connecting with people who may need you for sure, in terms of legal advice, in terms of immigration. Before I let you go, I'd like to say that I enjoyed the conversation. Just having to know more about you as a person in terms of what you have to offer, because I think I've seen you be a part of as a working colleague to have to start your own enterprise. So that's really great of you. A job well done. So I'm really happy and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. So I enjoyed the conversation, Jermaine. Thank you. But if anything in future, if anything specific that I feel that the people who are watching may need, we could probably hop on another call to talk about anything specific. But as of now, I think what you offered has been great. So thank you. I appreciate your time. And I hope everything goes well for you, brother.
Thank you so much, Jude. Always a pleasure talking to you. Um, like one thing that I've always admired about you is just how professional you are, how hardworking you are, and I wish you all the best, man, that life has to offer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine. Talk soon, man. Take care.
Take it easy, man. Bye.